People say the best camera is the one that you have with you. But is that really true? This is the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and this really is the best camera that you always have with you. This video is sponsored by Soundstripe. In 2010, the iPhone 4 was among the first ranks of smartphones to really take camera technology seriously. This was around the first time the iPhone entered the conversation of replacing point-and-shoot cameras. Fast forward to present day, where more and more feature films, like 28 years later, are being filmed completely on iPhones, and it looks pretty impressive. Suddenly, everyone has a great quality camera in their pocket at all times. Now, am I saying that iPhones are coming for cinema cameras? No. But we are entering an era where iPhone footage isn't just iPhone footage anymore. Here's a clip straight out of the stock camera app, and here's that same clip shot professionally with the same phone. Let's talk about what's new. The iPhone 17 Pro features three 48 megapixel cameras on the back, a 13mm f2.2 ultra-wide, 24mm f1.7 wide lens, and a new 100mm 2.8 telephoto lens. If you're familiar with the iPhone 14 Pro and newer, this probably sounds like more of the same, but these cameras have a major advantage that Apple doesn't exactly advertise prominently. The telephoto camera sensor is 56% bigger. What does that mean? Well, bigger sensor means more light, and in turn, more depth of field. Combine that with the introduction of Apple's new color codec, Apple Log 2, which brings better color and dynamic range with better shadow detail, and this feels like the culmination of something huge. The iPhone 17 isn't explicitly a cinema camera, and in many ways it's really not at all. But there are so many situations now where it feels like something more than just a smartphone. From a brand photography campaign that I did for a French bakery to some assorted aerial escapades, for the first time, I found myself putting down my 6-pound cinema camera and picking up my iPhone instead to film. And newsflash to some of my video clients, you probably haven't noticed until now that I've actually snuck a few iPhone clips into your footage. In terms of features like OpenGate, well, that's definitely nice to have, but 9 times out of 10, having to shoot full ProRes RAW just to have access to it is a bit excessive for my storage space, even with an external SSD. But here's what does matter when you're shooting. Whether it's on an iPhone or a cinema camera, the sound and music make a huge difference. And that's where channel sponsor Soundstripe comes in. Over the past 5 years, I've relied on Soundstripe for everything from background tracks to full cinematic scores. Their library is massive, and their licensing is straightforward. Honestly, it saved me countless hours of hunting down the right track. I've had their Pro subscription for over half a decade now, which gives me access to their full library of music, sound effects, and their in-house AI song editor and AI search. If you're a creator, whether you're using your phone or a $50,000 camera, you need good music. So head over to soundstripe.com and use code Brady10 at checkout to get 10% off your purchase of any annual plan. In terms of what apps and what LUTs I would recommend for color grading with the iPhone, I typically film everything, and I mean absolutely everything, with the Blackmagic camera app, which is free on the App Store, and I'm pretty sure that Apple actually uses the Blackmagic camera app or the Final Cut camera app, which has many similar capabilities, to film all of their events. So it really does take this and turn this into a pretty remarkable tool. I typically shoot with the iPhone 17 in Apple Log 2, but on my 15 Pro Max I upgraded from, I shot a lot in Apple Log 1 and had no issues. So if you have an older iPhone, I'd still recommend checking it out and shooting in Apple Log or Apple Log 2 if you have the 17 Pro. In terms of color grading, I have a one-click solution that I love to death. I absolutely swear by Phantom LUTs. I have used Phantom LUTs for my Canon C80, C70, R5C, and iPhone and DJI Osmo and any other drone that someone throws me footage from for the past 2 years. The guy that develops these knows what he's doing, and he does a phenomenal job of creating a one-click workflow that you really can just throw onto a log profile and it's pretty much done. In terms of photo, I have my own app, which we're gonna talk about, I promise. We're at beta 1.2 right now. It's called Y2Cam, and Y2Cam is sort of bridging the gap between film simulations and The iPhone. I've got about 40 people using this in test flight right now, and all of them on a variety of different iPhone models, but it especially works really well with the iPhone 17, which, surprise, surprise, the 17 Pro Max it's almost like it's the phone it was developed on, but the stills that come out of this phone are also pretty impressive. I recently had to get an extra shot for a product launch, and instead of pulling out the R5C out of the Pelican case, I just pulled my phone out of my pocket, snapped it, threw it into Lightroom Mobile, made a few tweaks, and I messaged it over. The client never knew any difference from my full-frame mirrorless camera. Oh, and the new square sensor on the front-facing camera means that you don't actually have to rotate your phone to shoot landscape, which is a very welcome addition. Overall though, we've reached a really weird inflection point in camera technology, where the lines between good enough and professional have begun to blur more and more. And that changes everything for creators, professionals, and for anyone with something worth capturing. One thing remains true though. Skill sets and craft will always make a big difference. Cinema cameras aren't going anywhere, but neither are phone cameras. And that is what makes this camera all the more worth it. Alright, here's the deal. You know the spiel. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like down below and leave a comment if you have any questions for me about whether it be my app, my experience with the iPhone 17 Pro Max, or just anything I talked about in this video in general. And if you want to hear more from me, definitely consider hitting that big red subscribe button and bell notification icon next to it so you can always be in the know when I upload new videos. Thank you all so much for the continued support, and as always, see you in the next one.